Oh shoot. Why is it not playing?
I don't know, Dave.
You just had it playing.
Oh, here it is. Welcome to a pre-recorded Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
I'm John at a discreet location somewhere out there.
I'm JD. Um, stand by. One. Continue the show. I'll return momentarily. Just give me a minute.
Okay, we'll continue on while we wait for JD. I'll explain to our audience what's going on. See, we ended our last episode, and we normally take the holidays off, and we didn't say anything about that. And I said, "Oh, we should go do Aquaman. It's the last DCEU movie. It's, but it came out at Christmas, so Warner Brothers was like, screw you guys. We're gonna make you work on the holidays." So on our break, we're just coming together to do a quick. We want to talk about the big news article that came out that affects the MCU, and we want to do a quick review on Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So that is what is going on here, boys and girls. You can see it's pre-recorded. We're going to be streaming this like it's live, but obviously you won't be able to interact with this. I hope everyone out there is having a wonderful Christmas time and is enjoying it with their family. And if you're finding time to watch this, thank you. So,
Unlike
I'm,
us.
how are you guys doing? How was your Christmases? JD, you can go first. How was your Christmas?
Dude, I'm a dad. Like, I don't have like a Christmas for me. My Christmas is like, what does the kid get? What did he get into? So it was great. He loved Christmas. He said the best Christmas ever. Santa brought him a Nintendo Switch, so he was super
Ah,
fired up about that. And he got some other cool things, some Ninja Turtle related material. His grandparents bought him a damn motorized scooter, which I don't know how the heck he's supposed to ride that thing and not kill himself. So that's wonderful. Um, Other than that, man, we're on break right now, halfway through the school year,
yeah, cool.
but I don't have a break. Like I have wrestling just about every day. We have a tournament, a JV tournament at our school tomorrow, and then we have 2 straight days of tournaments the following 2 days. Then we're going to see the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra perform the soundtrack to Back to the Future while watching the movie. I'm very much looking forward. That's how I'm spending my New Year's. So
Ah, cool.
yeah, and then more wrestling. So I'm freaking busy, man. This is not a downtime for me.
Yeah, I know. I think we've all been busy. John, you're in an undisclosed location. Are you in witness protection for Christmas?
The O'Grady bunker.
Finally, yeah. Well, it is the O'Grady bunker, aka my sister's house. And like JD, I haven't had any real time off. I had to wrap 84 gifts for all my nieces and nephews.
Did you literally buy them 84 gifts? You're so literal with things that now I imagine you actually bought them 84.
No,
Yes, yes.
no, that I
I knew
signed.
it.
I number when
I
I
knew
put
it.
the
I knew it.
sticker on the gift. The to and from. I also put the number there so
I
that
knew it.
I don't lose any gifts. So I know I've given them all out properly. Um, and yeah, I got up to 84 this year. I have no idea how that
Jesus.
happened.
This is one of the reasons we love you, John.
I'm Santa,
See,
but
most people say I bought 84 gifts for my relatives. They're just being
it's
hyperbolic.
hyperbole, right?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just saying that. But with and I would have assumed that for anybody else. But when John says I had 84 gifts this year, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, there's a good chance he actually bought 84 gifts this year. So I had to ask.
Well, one of the gifts was for my nephew Connor, and he did a 3D printer, and so he printed this out,
What is it?
hinges and Hall.
Oh,
It's one of those things, one of those like, yeah, I know the audio people aren't seeing this. It's one of those things where there's like
like a
eight
fidget.
squares and they're hinged in just the right way where it can just continually fold on itself.
Yes, yes.
Right now, he's upstairs trying to print all the pieces for an F-22 and a Stinger missile, so I'm sure that's going to go well. Um, he's ambitious. So
Better than a
yeah,
clock.
yeah. But no, I mean, like, I had to drive to Connecticut. I had to wrap all those gifts, and then I've just been visiting people while I've been here. I'm exhausted, and I'm starting to lose my voice. My voice? No.
You sound like Peter Brady or Bobby Brady, whichever
Yeah,
Brady
yeah,
had
yeah.
Bruce Brady.
Bobby. It was Bobby.
Yeah, it was Bobby Brady. Oh yeah, 70s reference, people. So yeah, that's been about it. Oh, and I was forced to see this. I went to this movie. I took two of my nephews, and my sister's like, "Sure, it's been a while since I've seen a movie." I'm like, inside, I'm going, oh God, she'll never see another movie again." It's like,
Man,
so she went.
I saw a great movie over the weekend. It was not the one we're going to review, though.
Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I saw the movie here at my sister's place, and right. Anyway, and now I'm here, and I'll be home this weekend, and I'm glad we're not doing a show because I'm exhausted. I haven't even gotten to see the. I know that all the episodes are out of What If. I haven't even been able to see that
Me neither.
yet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
So-
Judy, sure. Go ahead, Dave.
I understand what you're saying though, because like I had, I spent most of the weekend wrapping presents, getting everything ready. I don't know if I literally had 84 gifts for everyone.
I almost didn't fit myself into my car. I have to drive 3 hours to Connecticut,
I
and
believe
I
that.
almost didn't fit myself into the car.
And then, when you're kids are older and out of the house, and then you're, in a relationship with another person who has a family and their own thing.
Yep.
My Christmas started at, I got up at like 7, had to get a shower, get everything ready, wake my son up, make sure he got ready. Then we went to my daughter's and exchanged gifts with my grandkids and all that stuff. Had breakfast there. Then went to my mom's to have dinner and exchange with them and all that stuff. And then I got to go to my girlfriend's and spend the night. And I'm not off from work this week, so I brought my work laptop with me and had to get up and do some work. And then she brought me home in time to record, but we didn't record last night.
My bad. That's not me.
But yeah, so it was just like, but I'm kind of glad we didn't because I was still exhausted by the time you do all of that. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's
tiring.
tough. I can't wait to hopefully be married to her one day and at least, stay in the house for most of the day.
Wow,
So.
that's the first time I've heard you say the M word in regards to
Yeah.
her. That's wow.
Well, it's been
Is she
2
watching?
years.
Does she know?
How long has it been?
2 years.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. We've been doing the show for a long time. Like
Yeah,
time.
we have.
That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah, the thing is, she's not ready. She's got she takes care of her mom, so she can't, and she doesn't want to like get married and move her mom in with us. So,
Good decision.
Mm.
My
So-
parents did that with my grandfather. Wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
So yeah, one day. But yeah, no, it was good. I got this for my daughter. If you can see it behind me, this
Oh
painting.
wow! Look at that.
Let's see.
What is it? I see Spidey. Oh, who's it by?
I don't know. It's not signed or anything. I think it's just a print.
Oh,
Normally, I'd say you would have gotten it from Greg Horn, but that's not a Greg Horn. I can tell his work.
no, you can see a Greg Horn when you see one.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out how to hang that behind me so that it's part of the background going forward. So that was exciting. And then, got a lot of clothes for my girlfriend. I think she's trying to tell me she doesn't like the way I dress. I don't know.
That's exactly what it is.
So, but having said all that, I'm kind of curious here. With you guys, because I've been thinking about this, and everyone thinks about this stuff at this time of year. You got any New Year's resolutions that you want to?
Well, I got my physical today, and you probably shouldn't go to physical after taking your kid to Chipotle. Because you walking out with an extra 5 pounds it is in yours, but my doctor's like, hey, you're heavier than you were when we did this 2 years ago, so you got to drop some lbs. And I'm like, it's not bad, but he's like, you're probably heavier than you are. Should be. And I'm like, yeah, I knew it. I got this like I don't drink, I don't have any vices, but I really
Right.
like pop. Like, and I'll go through spurts where it's like I'm not drinking it at all, or I'm drinking it way too much, and there's no middle ground. So for me, it's like, God damn it, now I got to count calories and what? Because I don't, like I said, I don't eat that bad. But man,
Yeah.
I can pound some sugar if I'm not. Again, right after Christmas, worst day possible to go in. So I got probably about a good 7 that's not real, but at the same time, like I know I'm a little bit thicker than I need to be. So by the state series, I'm hoping to drop, which is in mid-February, hoping to drop about 15. So that's my. I'm not a New Year's resolution guy, but when the doctor says, "Hey, you should do this," I'm going to say, "Okay," and I'm gonna.
Yeah. How about you, John? Anything you want to change for the new year or accomplish or?
Well, first off, since I'm at my sister's, I probably got about 12 pounds that aren't real because, instead of the frozen stuff that I normally eat because I'm single, I've got my sister who's a master cook and just everything she cooks is amazing. And she cooked all these cookies and oh my God. So, but as far as New Year's resolutions go, I don't know. I want to make a resolution to finish my book, but I've made that one before, and it's really hard, and work gets in the way a lot. So we'll see what happens.
Here's the thing about resolutions, is that like they're hopes, right? You can't
Yeah.
set resolutions. You just have to do shit. And like if
Yeah.
my doctor appointment was in May, I'd be saying the same thing, but it was happened to be December 27th. So
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I got to do this, and like it's not going to be a New Year's resolution. It's going to be, well, this is a thing I got to do. So, I mean, like, I think that when you set this, okay, well, the new year is my excuse to do this. It's not real, right? It's this phantom thing that you've coked yourself up, like cooked yourself, not coke. That's be a different thing altogether. But you've cooked yourself up.
There's a New Year's resolution for you.
Well, yeah, I have to lay off the Coca-Cola, not the cocaine. So, that's my problem. So that's the thing. It's like you got to like just say, "Hey, I'm going to do this thing," and like really make like lifestyle changes. And it's like you got to commit yourself to this thing. But like John said, like we're saying real weight. Like there's like being a wrestler. I know what real weight is and what extra water weight and carrying a couple and if you change your diet up and just bring in a bunch of extra calories, your body's just going to hang on to them for a couple extra days, being like, I don't know what to do with all this extra shit you just put in me. So I mean, like the holiday weight is like the pounds will go up, but it's mostly water weight you're retaining.
Right.
So it's not like real weight. Like you can feel and you can feel the water weight too, because you feel bloated and you feel like you just don't feel right. But then there's like that real weight that you got to take off, like, and that stuff you feel it, like you just know it. Like I'm a little bit heavy. So like especially when it comes to like health stuff, like you just know it. But like if you want to do anything, like if you want to be like if you want to finish your book, John, just finish your fucking book. I am now in the process where I haven't read. Here's the thing about like a overactive imagination. You can't turn it off, right? So I haven't had this I haven't had these things to put my imagination into. So consequently, I'm just going crazy. Like I'm having conversations with myself or with people who aren't in the room or the dog. Like, it's like, God damn, I got to do something creative or I'm going to lose my freaking sanity over here.
Astro will feature prominently in your next book.
He is the best listener in the world. In the car, he sits in the front seat, and I just talk to him, and he's like, "That's right, Dad. I get it." He just nods, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, you're good at this." The last two dogs, they didn't give a fuck what I had to say. Oh, appreciate this one, Dave. How about you? What are you thinking about for the new year? Are you subscriber to this resolution thing, or are there things you want to be different? You're talking about the big M, so maybe
there are things I want to. Well, yeah, that's something I would like to do. But there's things I want to accomplish in 2024. Starting with what everyone says. I mean, obviously, I lost a lot of weight, and then I've put quite a bit of it back on. So I just getting back on the wagon, getting back to the gym.
You were a machine when you were doing that stuff. You were a goddamn machine at the gym.
Yeah. So I like that's one thing is definitely get back into that. But the other thing I've been thinking about a lot from a personal standpoint is I want to record like an album or like a demo of like because I've been in bands and the stuff. I mean, I wrote the new intro and everything, and it's like
sorry, love that thing.
And I have a collection of guitars and all this musical equipment, and I record stuff here and there, but like I haven't disciplined myself talking about writing to sit down and like that's what I've wanted. It's why I got all this stuff. When I sit down and I have like at least 5 songs that I've always had, that I've floated around with different bands and stuff that like I've never recorded with people. I want to like record them and just have like a demo, even if no one else ever hears it. Like I know that I did it and I have them, you know. So,
I like it.
and then for the podcast, I'm working on is I would like us to stream live our audio at the same time we do our video, and I have to use a third-party tool. I've been looking into it, so that is a goal to get that working for 2024. We would be on
Interesting.
Spotify and iHeartRadio and all those live.
That's cool.
So yeah,
I think that we have to look back on 2023 as the year that we changed our show format.
very much so.
Like
Yeah.
we're a very different show than we were just a year ago, right?
Yeah,
For the better. I think it's a better show. I think we breathed new life in our show this year, and I'm pretty proud of that actually.
I think interacting with the audience really has stepped it up, and we've gained followers. We've got We've got over 7,000 subscribers on YouTube right now.
It's awesome,
So,
man. And we didn't do anything with our channel like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
It was just there. So I mean, like we've really grown considerably. Like I know Mike and I in our show have tried to like mirror some of the things that you've done to grow this channel over the last year because it's been so successful. Like, but I think this has been a very good year for us as a team. Like I think this is probably the best we've had. You know?
Yeah. And I am going to try again, at least for New York and maybe for Fan Expo Philly, to do a live panel that we record. And, then maybe we'll get you to come out, at least for New York.
You're paying my way.
Maybe. We'll see.
I've got lotto tickets.
Well, I'm a whore and can be bought. So you tell me where you want me to be, and I will have bells on.
Nice.
Perfect. So, yeah. And the only other thing I got going on right now, John and I were talking. So, I wanted to talk about that real quick.
Me being a
What
whore?
if?
Oh.
No, what if? It's kind of related to you being a whore. And I've watched the first 3 episodes. John has watched the first episode. You refuse to watch it because you don't like the animation style.
Nope.
And yet,
it doesn't count either. This like Marvel gives me enough shit to watch. Now they're telling me I have to watch something that doesn't count. Fuck you.
and then I've given crap.
Technically, a lot of stuff doesn't count now
And then
because of what we're going to talk about later.
I was given crap because I didn't like the animation style of the Turtles movie.
Yeah, and I'm a hypocrite.
All right, as long as you admit it and you
I know it.
acknowledge it.
I live there. I know what I am. The difference is the animation style of the Turtles movie was good.
No. It's horrible.
It's awesome. No, I don't know. Like it's so weird because I loved the What If comics as a kid, but for some reason this show, like everything Marvel TV, just feels like homework. You know, and it makes me not want to do it.
It's because there's so much of it.
That's
why you think
Yeah. I mean, you sit there and say it doesn't count, but yet Captain Carter, who was in What If, was in Multiverse of Madness. You know,
But
that
she
whole...
died. Like I didn't need to see What If to know Peggy Carter could have been the suit. Like I was able to decipher that very quickly.
Yeah, I know, but it was fun to watch the What If and see the origin.
She didn't like it. She was very unhappy about what happened. Dude, nobody liked Multiverse of Madness, it turns out. Maybe Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Maybe. Although they really do kind of shit on, because remember the end of Multiverse of Madness where the third eye comes out and you're like, oh man, very Raimi ending. And then he's like cool with it in the post-credit sequence. He just goes and follows the hot blonde into the portal, which I get. But like like I do the same thing. Actually, this goes, follow me. I'd be like, okay. Like what do I have better to do? I will do that. So
they were gonna go fix an incursion. So
that is a euphemism, my friend. Like
when are we going to see? When are we going to see that incursion? Like years from now, right? Nobody will care about that.
Nobody cares anymore. Like they interviewed Charlize Theron, and she's like, "I don't have a contract. They haven't told me anything." It's like they just dangle a hook. They dangle a hook. They dangle like a worm-ridden hook in front of us, and then they're like, "Yeah, we have no plans." Like everything used to be so tight over here, and now it's just everything's so slapdash.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about that in a second. But on that note, there's no social media madness this week because you know what? It's the holidays. I'm giving these guys a present. But if you want to follow us, go to our website, all that stuff. Here's our good friend Don to tell you more.
Enjoying the show? Do you want to be part of social media madness? Well, go ahead and head on over to superheroespeak.com. You'll find all the links you need, episodes of the show, comic reviews by Chris, and other articles. We're posting stuff on there all the time. And while you're there, you can also check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars podcast network. Include great shows like the Pop Prison Power podcast, Colt 45, baby, So Wizard podcast, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Hashtag GW All-Stars, and you're not going to be disappointed. So, make sure that you are commenting on our Twitter articles. Could be a poignant comment, could be a stupid one. Either way, gives you a chance for Dave to possibly mispronounce your Twitter handle. All right, well, I've rambled on enough. Let's head back to Dave and the gents on Superhero Speak.
I'm angry and you mispronounce things. John gets off like freaking...
Well, okay. So
I'm a nice guy.
I'm going to tell you that
His testicles just dropped, apparently.
I'm a nice guy.
little behind the scenes for me.
I'm not.
Don almost filled in for you tonight.
Oh,
but then
he turns anyway.
But then he said, "Oh, I didn't see the movie."
Oh,
he still could have come on and had a better opinion.
I torrented this movie, to be fair. I did not go to the theater to see this. I'm like, I could not be bothered to pay money for this excrement.
You know, when I look at that video, though, and I think about he had flooding in his basement, that's where he set up.
Mm-hmm.
Did he lose any of his collectibles or any of that stuff
I hope not.
on the walls?
Question.
So.
Don, did you lose that stuff? Let us know. Because you had some good shit in there. Don's the whole reason, like, Don was my inspiration for trying to level up my video game. I'm like, I would watch Don's commercial every week. And I'd be like, which one of you two has the degree in film? Like, he's got real lighting and a good angle, and you're sitting here with a freaking, the FaceTime camera pointing at your ugly ass wall. Like, I would see that and I would feel like shame. So Don, like, shamed me into, like, being better at my job. So I appreciate that, Don. That was a good 2023 thing, too.
Yeah. Sorry, I just realized that bunch of tabs open.
So do I.
He also did say that he's getting ready. He's ready to come on. He's going to try to record another one of those for us. And this time, I'm sure he will pick one, John.
That's good. About time. We need a new commercial. Speaking of new commercials, did Randy give us one?
Before we get to that, while you're here, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Click that bell for notifications so you don't miss us when we do go live on Sunday nights at 8:30 regularly. Usually, not this week, obviously. But yes, I have another Christmas present for you guys. Randy actually sent us two. Here's we're not going to play both of them, but here's the first one of the two that he sent.
I cannot wait for this.
Some podcasts are like this.
You know, in middle school, you get taught photosynthesis, right?
Yes.
And like ecosystems and shit.
100%.
Shit that don't really make sense.
It makes sense, but it's too complex.
I think they're lying about the rain.
Lying about rain.
Yeah, I don't think that.
What is to lie about?
I don't think that the rain.
There it is.
I don't
like what. What do you mean lie about it?
Where it comes from.
Clouds.
Exactly. That's it.
Correct.
I don't think the rain comes from the ocean though.
What are you saying? Like what are we saying right now?
You get me?
I don't get you.
Okay,
Neither did your science teacher.
I don't think that, you know how they say that the rain sucks up into the clouds from this ocean?
That would be evaporation.
Right, that's not real.
That's extremely real.
Maybe.
There's no maybe. It is proof. Real.
No, I'm saying that it doesn't, like, that's not the rain. Because the ocean would run out. No, I'm not just saying things to say it. No, I'm not.
Stop talking.
No, I'm not saying things to say it.
Stop talking.
Think about it.
So when it rains, where does it go back?
The concrete and the grass. There's more concrete and grass than ocean.
Hey, how?
Think about it.
And some podcasts I like this.
But it's lemonade juice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we really doing this
Yeah,
right
we
now?
are. If you add anything to
No.
water, it is no longer
No.
water.
No. So listen, I'm just saying you go to somebody's house and you're like, I'm thirsty. I would like some juice. And then they come back to you and
Unrated.
they give you juice options and they go, oh no, when I asked for juice, I was hoping you had like lemonade or something.
No, yeah. If they gave me lemonade if I wanted juice, I'd be like, thank you.
Wait, are you calling Minute Maid?
Yes. Can you tell me, is lemonade a juice?
Yes, the Minute Maid the juice, yes.
Minute Maid is a juice, yes. Thank you very much, ma'am. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Have a great day. All right, so according to the
And you're going to tell a
Minute Maid-
company that they're wrong?
Minute Maid
And you're going to tell a
service
company that they're wrong.
probably
BK.
made more money off of lemonade than any other place on the planet. So
I rest my case, Your Honor.
thank you, Your Honor.
But only one podcast is where you can get in-depth analysis like this.
You got your mouth free, right?
Yeah.
Like the tape, by the grace of God, comes off your mouth. You were the only one privy to this knowledge. Should you A, wait for him to leave and try to devise a plan to get the fuck out of there, or B, whip everyone up into a fervor, letting them know that they're all going to be connected ass to mouth, and just start crying? He's going to stitch us up. He's going to stitch us up. And then you hear all the muffles like,
Yeah, you hear them all just go ape shit. Just like, because apparently no one saw this movie, but we all heard about it.
He fucking, oh man, he ruined it. Like, everyone lost their minds, and like, cause they were kind of like saving their energy. But everyone was just wiggling on the ground like, fuck, no.
You are now listening to Cult 45.
This is Beat 'em Down.
And I'm Random Randy Savage.
Find us on all your podcatching apps like Podbean or Spotify, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or just go to www.cult45podcast.com.
Also, check out our YouTube for that sweet, sweet video content.
Cult 45, the only podcast that puts hair on your chest.
Merry Christmas. There's a human centipede reference for you. Don't. Now you can just forget you ever heard that.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on in that commercial.
Yeah, the first part. Go for it, man.
Wow. Okay.
Go for it.
Dumbest motherfucker alive. I said every time Randy puts a commercial up. The man first. There's not, in fact, more grass and concrete than ocean.
No, because the Earth is 70% water.
One doesn't even need to know the statistics. One just need to look at a globe.
Mm.
You know, just look at a
Wait,
globe.
you think the world is round? No,
I do. I do. Two, lemonade very clearly a juice. Like that guy's right. When you add something to water, it is no longer water. It is something else. It's very simple.
Now, the FDA may have something to say about what is considered actual juice and what is considered a mix or something. I'm sure they have technical terms for it.
It's not water, though. It's
right,
not
yes,
water.
right.
No, but you know what? I can get the point a little bit. I'll give her a little bit of leeway because you're adding water. You're adding sugar as well. It's not just lemon juice and water. You're also adding sugar to make it more sweet.
You add sugar to every juice. Every single juice we've drank is chock full of sugar.
Unless you
natural
juice yourself.
No, even just any kind of.
What if you fresh squeeze oranges?
Sugar.
Yeah, but I'm talking about cane sugar. I
So,
think.
well, no, they have
the glucose,
all
sugars.
Yeah, all juices have sugar in it.
All
Natural
juice has
sugars,
sugar.
not
right.
not
Lemons
not
have
your-
natural sugars in them too. But
Correct.
You're adding sugar as well to lemonade.
Well, people add sugar to lemon because it's a little tart for them.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So if
The
you
lemon
squeeze,
juice.
lemon. That's what just say. If one were to squeeze lemon into water, one would have lemon juice.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They would not be. It would not be water.
I mean, it'd be watered down lemon juice, but it's
You
still
could
lemon
call
juice.
it watered down. You could call it lemon flavored water, but it ain't water. Is my
Mm-hmm.
point. Third,
You know, we're starting to sound like that podcast.
We're starting to sound like that podcast.
Oh God! Oh God!
It's like
Abort,
it's
abort.
really like when you surround yourself with idiots, you start talking like an idiot. Third, I can't believe they subjected themselves to the human centipede 2.
I know. Oh my God!
2.
And there's a
Yeah.
3 as well.
Oh, there's more. Like
but see, the thing is, that's
a
what they do
horrible
on Call
movie.
45.
No, I
is
get it. I get it.
If they
I
do
get it.
one bad movie, they've got to like continue the series.
I know, but it's the human. I can't bring myself to watch the Human Centipede movies.
No,
I
it's- no.
can't do it. Like, it's just a concept. It's just a concept, and I don't like as much as I like horror, right? I hate torture porn.
Yes.
Right? Like, because torture porn, there's no story. It's just watch these people suffer. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, that's not fun to me. Like, there's no plot. There's no story. There's nothing really happening. It's just like, you're no one to root for. There's no real stakes. It's like, oh, that guy's going to shit in his mouth. Oh, and it's a gag. It's the gag. People are going to shit in your mouth. Right?
I'll tell you something. Back in the 80s or 90s, I forget which, there was a set of video tapes that came out called Faces of Death.
I remember those.
Yeah. And that's when I realized, oh no, this is not for me. I never want to see anything even close to this again, ever.
Here's the thing about Faces of Death, John. It's a work. It's a work. Like, they're fake. They're not real.
I know, but it was still enough for you to let you understand whether or not you are into torture porn.
Agree. You're right about that. But I mean, that's kind of the predecessor of like the works of Eli Roth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because again, I think his movies suck. Like, they're not great. Like, actually, you know what moment broke me in Inglourious Bastards? When Eli Roth killed Hitler, I was out. I'm like, bridge too far. That's a bridge too far for me. When Eli Roth killed Hitler, I was like, I can't. Quentin Tarantino lost me. It could have been anybody else, but I can't stand Eli Roth's movies, so it's just like, okay, I'm out.
All right. Well, speaking of shitting in people's mouths,
are we doing Aquaman?
No, let's do the one major news story that has come out since we last were together.
There is something else I want to inject. Just one other news story, a really quick one.
You have to John, at least romance me before you inject me. Come on, man.
For crying out loud.
But first,
do you want to do it before or after, Dave? That's it.
Was David inject me too? Oh, Jesus, guys.
You can inject first, John.
No one's being gentlemanly, like, you know.
I like sloppy seconds.
Good Lord, David.
Okay, all right. No, see, you're losing me.
Sweet Jesus.
No. All right, look.
Even I buckled on that one.
The New York Times is suing OpenAI.
For what?
Because OpenAI. What's that?
What specifically for? I don't know the story.
Well, you can literally go to OpenAI and use a couple of prompts to get stuff that was behind New York Times paywall. It looks like OpenAI has trained on literally millions of New York Times stories.
Yeah.
And when you
knew that was coming.
Yeah, and when you go to some of these companies that are specializing in generating news stories from OpenAI instead of having somebody write them, they're finding that these stories that are generated have literal they're literally Frankenstein stories about a specific subject that are taken from the New York Times and then Breitbart.com and then CNN and then like Newsmax. It's really and the logic's jumbled and none of it can be verified, and of course it's written by OpenAI. And so
here's my question.
Sounds like some of the papers I read in class sometimes. Continue.
Here's my question on that, and I'm being completely serious here. And I get to a point because New York Times and the Philadelphia Inquirer and a lot of the big papers now have a paywall. If you want to read the full article,
they've had a paywall for a long time, though. New York Times,
right? Pay for a subscription, where and it's ridiculously expensive too. What they want for these,
it really is
$20 a month.
Yeah, that's ridiculous for New York Times, especially when most news you can get for free. So why would I pay you?
But they want to pay their staff. They want to pay the people that work there.
And you want investigative journalists. Otherwise you don't get good news.
There's no such thing as investigative journalists anymore. But
yes, there is. There's
hold on.
Left.
But here's the thing with that, but they make way more money on advertising than they do on subscriptions. That's a proven fact. I don't like if it was free, they would get more people going there, and it would make tons on advertising. Here's the thing. What's the difference between OpenAI learning an article and repeating it back to someone versus you read an article on New York Times and tell it to JD and I?
We're not making money. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's literally New York Times wouldn't care unless somebody was making money off it, because people are like, we're seeing this all the time now, right? These clickbaity sites, right? That's all done with OpenAI, and they're making money by, with ads and shit. That's where it comes down to, is you're stealing content that someone's making money on. That's the difference.
Yep, and those clickbaity things, they just make sure they have a special algorithm that makes sure that the title is very catchy or controversial, which makes people click on it, and then the thumbnails are always going to be either a hot woman or a car crash or something that people are predisposed to saying, "Oh, I want to see what happened."
And
so that's
and
all
I
it
am
is.
on the side of, because I do think one of the
Facebook
worst
is littered with that crap.
one of the worst things that the AI thing is doing is stealing art and regurgitating. We've talked about that.
Right.
So this is the same basic idea, but
And that's why I brought it up. Yes.
I just don't know. I'm curious what the grounds they're using for the lawsuit, and then what, you know what I'm saying? Because they're still going to do it after the lawsuit. They'll just make sure that they train the AI enough to change it enough that they're not saying the article word for word. And like, you can't copyright news, so I'm just kind of curious, like, what's going to happen with this lawsuit. It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
I hope they win.
Yeah, me too. But here's the thing: it's gonna come down to how much business. What's gonna be? Who is business gonna back? Right? Is business gonna back OpenAI, or is business gonna back what already makes money? So it's gonna be interesting, and I don't have the answer for that question.
Yeah,
but
this
the
will be
thing is
interesting
that
to watch.
if it's left the way things are going, and they don't rein in OpenAI and the other AI generators, like we're going down to a very dark place, both with artists, with information and everything. Because going back to your example, Dave, if I read a New York Times article and I told you about it, I'm giving you Granted, we're still playing the game of telephone, but I'm relating to you the factual information that an investigative reporter went out and found and collated himself, and then spent time putting together with all of his knowledge and all of his degrees in literature and all that stuff, compared with OpenAI spitting out an article to you that is a mishmash of some parts from a New York Times article, some parts that were fake from a Newsweek or a Newsmax article, some crap from Fox News. It's like, you're going to get something that is going to mislead you.
You're worrying too much about the politics part of it.
It's not just the that's not politics. That's actual fact. But the problem being that it's also from behind the New York Times paywall.
That's what I'm saying. That's what New York Times, I'm sure, issue is that they're taking stuff from behind the paywall and spitting it back out. Where, like, I don't know, I don't understand. I'm not sure where that's going to go. Like, I don't know how a judge or a jury would.
Well, it's very easy, because if I tell you about it, I've told one person, when they use the generator to spit it out, they're spitting out an article with a catchy title that's going to be clicked on by a whole bunch of people on Facebook.
The thing. We're going to figure out.
They're going to make money off of that.
Well, a court is going to decide if AI is plagiarism. We've had this debate openly, but now it's going to go to a court of law to decide whether or not artificial intelligence, which is not really we call it artificial intelligence. It's not really artificial intelligence.
No, it isn't. Yeah.
No, that's kind of a misnomer. But they're going to decide if, like, OpenAI is plagiarism. You know? And it's not time. I mean, it was only a matter of time before this was going to happen.
Well, it's going to be it's going to be based on copyright law.
It's going to get it is going to be based on copyright law. It's going to get kicked up to the Supreme Court.
And that is one of the issues too. And I think the thing that should be baked into stuff like that is they should have the OpenAI should have to cite references.
It's probably or pay money.
Yeah, and this hits JD too, because they're his books are digitized, right? You can buy them on Kindle.
My books get stolen all the time anyway. Like, I remember, because I'm a egomaniac, I was doing some Frostinos. I was doing some Googling, and I found someone trying to sell my book one book of mine before it was even done. I'm like, I'm not even finished with this thing, and it's available on this dude's site. Like, people steal stuff all the time. It's just that. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm guilty. I torrented the Aquaman movie because I didn't want to watch it. I'm a bad person for that. Like, here we are.
I saw something. It was either yesterday or today that made it click in my head. And these AI programs, the music AI, the writing AI, the art AI,
it's all stolen.
it's no, but it appeals to the person that doesn't want to do the work, right? Because
The
it's
idea
like,
man.
there are these people there are people that will go to artists, musicians, writers all the time and go, I got the idea for your next book. I got the idea for your next piece of art. Do this. And they want the other person to create it for them, and they want to be able to say, this is mine. It's like, no, because you didn't do the work. But now a computer will just spit it out, and they can go, this is mine.
Okay, here's where I'm of two minds on this subject right now, because like I was teaching as a teacher, like, and I teach graphics and video content and stuff like that. Photoshop and Illustrator this year, Adobe has released AI programs, AI prompt programs as part of what they do. So we did an assignment this year on, we did the tutorial basically that Photoshop gives, and I had a student that refused to do it. Right? She's like, she's an artist. I'm an artist. I'm not going to do it. I said, that's cool. I respect your stance. You're getting a 0. It's a 5-point project. I'm like, who cares? It's 5 points. Like,
yeah.
But I can't give you a 0 because like it's the same. Then I could tell the dude who's sleeping, because literally sat next to the guy who was sleeping in class. I said, then I have to say that. Then I have to like not grade him the same way. This is the assignment. I respect your stance, but part of making a stance is you got to deal with consequences.
Right. Right.
Embrace your 0. She got an A in the class, so don't worry about it. I am of the mind that when you use AI and do something with it, then it becomes something.
Right.
Right? Like, because if I tell AI, if I'm in Photoshop and I say, give me an eagle, and it gives me an eagle, and then I go ahead and tweak that eagle and reset it. Because again, what's the difference between AI and what Photoshop is, which is compositing? Because all Photoshop does is you're taking elements that exist somewhere else and rejiggering them to you come up with something new. Right? It's kind of a similar stance. I'm of the mind that if you just take AI and go, then you're not doing anything. But if you why can't AI be a tool that you use, that an artist or a writer or someone uses to create from there? I think that's where it is, because I've used AI to mess around with some book covers and stuff like that, and like I added my own stuff, I tweaked it, I was able to reshape it. Like, I don't think I'm stealing any more than if I were to Google something on Photoshop, or do something in Google. If I were to Google an image and work from there, right? It's more work. It's less work, but the whole idea of computers, the whole idea of engineering is to make things easier.
That'll go down to what the legal definition, what they think the legal definition is of transformative work.
Agreed. So what does that mean, right? And that's the ultimate question: is what is transformative work? Because again, this is my stance right now, and this I think would be kind of controversial in my communities. Is I'm not a fan of because I tried this actually. I tried to do some AI with a short story, and it was ass. And I'm like, well, this is going to wind up taking me just as much time to rewrite everything as it would if I just wrote the book myself.
Yeah.
Right. So, but in my book covers and stuff like that, I messed around. Sometimes I was able to pull out some decent results. Right. So I'm of the mind that if I can take what AI spits out and put my own spin on it, and use my own skills to level it up, then why can't I do that? Why can't I use that as a tool?
Here's the thing. On your side of it, yes, that sounds reasonable, right? But on the side of the person who came up with the original art that trained ChatGPT to give you that eagle, that and was done without their permission, that their art was scanned without permission, that's a problem. That's the problem.
Is it a problem when Greg? Okay, is it a problem when Greg Land traces porn to make faces? Like I'm saying, like, what's the difference between Greg? I'll call out Greg Land because everybody knows Greg Land is a notorious swiper and has been for decades, right? He traces imagery all the time. So is it just because he's putting more effort into the lifting of it? Like, people have been tracing for decades. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's training. Training and tracing are the same thing.
Not when it adds the watermark of the original work into what you have.
Anyone who knows how to use Photoshop can get rid of a watermark.
Right, I know. But again, like, I understand what you're saying, but wouldn't you like to be in charge of your own books and be able to give permission instead of having that permission abrogated by somebody who just throws your work into the ChatGPT mix.
I agree with that. There should be some things that are for sure taken.
It should it should be opt in, not opt out.
Well, I agree, and I don't disagree with that. At the same time, art in and of itself is thievery, right? Like Andy Warhol is famous for painting a fucking soup can. Like, come on, dude. Like, that's just lifted. Like, that's not. You could sit there and tell me.
True. But that was one artist with his. That was one artist with his skill doing that. This is a machine that can pump out 1 billion different versions of it, and people will make money off of that without having any skill of their own.
But why not? Now again, if you're just taking the AI work, sure. But if you're doing your own stuff to it from then on, why is that a problem? Why is it a problem?
That's not what they're doing. They're just pumping out the books and the art without adding anything to it.
Are people actually making money off AI books? Are people actually making money off AI music? Is there money for this?
Ask Amazon. How many people?
Dude, you know how hard it is to sell? Like this is an argument that like falls real flat for me because I work in the Amazon space. Do you know how hard it is to sell one book on Amazon? And Amazon readers, here's the reality: is Amazon readers are super discerning. If they don't like what you're doing, they're not going to come back for the next one. Maybe you can sell a lot of them at first, but like you aren't going to get that. Like you'll have a peak and then it'll crater. So you're not going to compete with Stephen King, man.
But but they're not trying to. This is an economies of scale thing. If they can pump out 20 books a day without any effort and without any cost to themselves, they can make money off of that by people buying the book, realizing it's bad, but they've already bought the book. You can't return the book.
That whole argument is predicated on the idea that it is easy to sell a book on Amazon. And I am telling you from personal experience and hard work, it is not easy to sell a $2 book on Amazon.
Yeah, I also kind of think like you would have to then keep changing the author name because of.
But that's what they do.
That's easy. That's not hard. But I mean, but you have to sell the damn thing. So you have to have the perfect ad copy. You have to have the perfect cover. Like there's classes. Like I have not mastered this. I put out lots of books, and this is not easy. And I get economy of scale, but I mean, like you put out 100 books, but you like who's to say anybody buys any of them?
But that's just the point. If you can put out 100 books a day, one of those may sell. Maybe you take 2 or 3 days and you put out 300 books, and then yes, you're going to make a couple of $100 off of that. If you can keep that going, you're going to make a lot of money.
You're not going to, because Amazon is an algorithm that relies on people recommendations.
Well, this
recommendation engine.
I get it.
System. Most readers won't buy anything unless there's literally hundreds of reviews.
Right, but it doesn't matter because you're just looking for those first-time buyers that are saying, "I'll try this," you know.
There's no. I mean, like I'm telling you, as a living proof, it is very, very difficult to sell one book. And if you try to game the system all you want, like this is not a. I'm telling you, this is my world. This is not a problem right now.
Let me just.
Well, it's a problem enough. Hold on one thing. It's problem enough that Amazon had to implement a new rule that says you can only post 4 books a day.
There are
and that should tell you something.
People are trying to game the system, but people have been trying to game the system since KDP became a thing, right? There's no guarantee that you can sell books. There's no guarantee that just releasing 1,000 books into the ether is going to get one of them to sell. It doesn't work like that.
They don't need it. They don't need
John, it's insulting. It's insulting to me to hear that all one need do is put a book out and people are lemmings and will buy them. Except for you, JD. Like it's super hard for you to say because you're dumber than.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's what it is, John. It's the idea that all you got to do is put it out and some idiot will buy it. And if you put out
but they're not looking for a book.
Idiots.
All they need is a few people to buy one book. They're not looking for the book to take off. They're not looking for the book to be successful or anything like that.
I'm telling you, like it doesn't. This was not scalable. You cannot do the Richard Pryor Superman 3 business model to make money on these things.
I also don't think
it'll work.
I don't think there are people that are randomly just buying books on Amazon. Like if
they're not. Trust me.
Right. Like I don't go to Amazon and just say mystery book and then oh, there's the first one. I'll just buy this one.
Well,
Like,
there are people that do that. There are keywords are
Okay.
dramatically important in Amazon because there are whale readers that want to read something. But these people, whale readers, are the most disconcerting of all. They're the ones who want to see, did other people like this book? Is this something? They almost always read the sample. So if AI can put out a book that's as good as what people like me are doing, then we're all fucked because the computer does our job better than we are, and we're an assembly line, and then we've done it to ourselves.
And there's the problem because again, every day we can say AI is the worst it will ever be because it's getting because they continually train it.
Of course, they continually train it, but they've been continuing that's what.
Yeah, but
Taylor Swift works for a reason, man. Because she has a personal connection with her audience, and she's a billionaire.
I was gonna say that,
and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. The talented people in the world are always going to be successful because they know what they're doing.
Yes,
it's the middle of the roaders that are going to be fucked, and they're fucked in the middle of the road anyway.
Yeah, that's another thing. Let's say someone somehow was able to successfully do this, then they're going to want to ask that person questions about the book, and he's not going to. I bet you, if you put out 100 books a day, you're not reading 100 books a day that the AI is generating. You're just putting it out to game the system. So if there's no real person behind it, like that's another thing. People follow authors. If there's no author to follow,
but
this isn't unique though to AI. People have been scamming the Amazon system for years. People have been stealing other people's books and putting different titles on there. Like there's always going to be thieves looking to game the system, and they don't last very long. Amazon's really good at shutting them out. So I mean, like it's not like, you have to have bank accounts connected. I mean, there's a process in having a KDP account. I think this kind of stuff where people like, I understand why the worry is there, but I'm telling you from experience, like it is very difficult to sell a single book on Amazon.
Yeah.
Let alone releasing so many. I mean, like I don't think it's scalable. I seriously don't.
Okay.
Like, and if it is, like you're talking about one person buying one book.
I mean,
and if that's the system, like, okay, I mean, like, if I can't compete with that, then I don't belong, right? And if you're going to do that and make a living, I don't fucking care. There's a ton of people out there that are doing that right now with low content books. There's people that re-release coloring books all the time, and they make a shit ton of money. Like, whatever. Like, a real artist, a real creator is going to find ways to not combat it, but to do their own thing. And I think that a lot of in the writing community specifically is a lot of panic because there's this worry that they're worried that there's a finite amount of money in the world and there's only so much to go around. And that's not true. Is if people want something, they're going to get it. And if they're dumb enough to spend $1 on some shit book, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Just remember, like I said, Amazon did have to institute a new policy of only 4 books a day.
People are trying. I'm not arguing with you that people are. I'm just saying I'm arguing can this be successful? I don't think it could be successful.
Yeah, and maybe because like you said, like because of all the hoops you have to jump through to get Amazon done. Yeah, maybe it's not successful there. But if you think about like art and Etsy or something like that, someone could pump out a whole bunch of art that was based on somebody else's work and sell it on Etsy really quick.
People still.
I don't disagree with that.
Which happens a lot.
People just straight up steal other people's art all the time.
And have
I saw an ad one time for a pair of shoes that had Greg's art on it, and I sent it to him. He's like, I don't even know what this is. So
I mean, it's nothing new. It's just easier.
Yeah,
and it's always been easier. Like the second we created Photoshop, people were freaking out because you could literally take someone's art and do whatever you want if your skills are good enough. Hell, that's what I teach. That's what I'm making my living.
Anyway, to go back to this, like one of the pieces of the suit is basically you can tell ChatGPT you can give it the name of an article in New York Times that's behind a paywall, and it will give you the article. Like
and that's where they're going to be in trouble is if they're circumventing paywalls or if they're not. And when it comes down to money, and I think there's enough money behind these big companies that there will be some type of change. It's going to get, like I said before, it's going to get kicked all the way up to the Supreme Court. So I'm very, very curious to see where this goes.
That's just what we want. A bunch of octogenarians making laws about AI.
We do. That's what we do.
I know. It's
in this country for the last 150 years.
I was about to say, in that case, I think we do because I think the octogenarians will be more scared of AI than
that's a
us.
good point. Old people are
I hope so.
scared of change in computers. So maybe we do want those people
Yeah.
signing on this so that people can bitch about it in 50 years.
All right.
There is my side quest. Sorry.
That was a big one.
Yes, because you insulted JD. All right.
I wasn't insulted. Well, maybe a little.
So we're going to talk about this other article. We're not going to talk about the details of the court case because
that's good
because of the algorithm, right?
No, because
What are you doing? We don't do that here.
You just want an excuse to push the button.
yes, I just wanted to
you just.
But long story short, Jonathan Majors is out. He was fired from the MCU because he was found guilty.
He beat his girlfriend. Don't do that.
He's gone. And they have not announced what their plans are going forward.
Yeah.
Everyone's going back and forth on social media, and there's rumors and all this stuff. Recast Kang, which you can get away with because it's a multiverse storyline, and you could have any actor play Kang, or switch to a whole new villain and go to Doom or someone else.
Can I? I'm having just read the MCU book. Great book. Can't recommend it. Ron Perlman, or not Perlman, the other guy.
Perlmutter.
Perlmutter. Thank you, Ike Perlmutter. When it was time to recast Rhodey,
Yeah, I was
when it
just
went
thinking
from
that.
Terrence Howard to Don Cheadle, his attitude was, "Who cares? All black people look the same." That is not my word, JD Oliva. That is the words of Ike Perlmutter, former chairman of Marvel Entertainment. So I am not a fan of just recasting this and saying, just put another black guy there, it'll be fine. Like
I'm not
I don't
saying
think
it
they
that
do
way.
it on that.
We've got.
But that's
we've established that all three Peter Parkers are Peter Parkers in other universes, and they're three completely different looking people.
But we're living in a world. This is reality. We live in a world where if you recast differently, that's bad. If you recast, saying there's no way to win with recasting Kang. Just get rid of Kang. Nobody liked Kang. Kang got beat by Ant-Man. Kang should not do anything.
Yeah.
A bunch of ants beat him. He's done. He fucking sucked to begin with. Doom. Give us Doom. Bring us Doom. We need Doom. I want Doom.
Wait, can I throw an idea at you?
For sure.
Because everyone says, "Oh, Kang sucked because he was beaten by."
That is what happened in the movie.
But then you have another actor, and there's a lot of great actors out there that could play him, who then can come in and like be a total badass. And reinvigorate the idea of Kang.
Here's my qualm with this to begin with. Is Kang fucking sucks. Kang has always sucked. Kang always will suck. He's a B-level Avengers villain that has like one decent story. And it's just Kurt Busiek could write anything. Right? Like he's the fact that for the last couple of years we've had to pretend that Kang is this top-tier Avengers villain is dumb. Because he's never been a headliner. They try.
But I mean the idea of someone that can control time is kind of scary.
It is, but he's never been effective doing it. It's never been. There's not a lot of great Kang. Avengers Forever. It's the only good one. That's in 50 years of the character existing. There's way better villains out there that we can utilize. He ain't Thanos. That's the problem. When Thanos showed up at the end of Avengers 1, the world let out a collective, oh shit, and we all knew where it was going. Right?
Yeah, they all went dark side. No, it's not.
No, nobody said that. Thanos is way more popular than Darkseid. Come on, even if Darkseid came first. Like, that's the reality, is every Marvel fan, anyone who knew anything about comics saw the end sequence of Avengers and went, oh, shit. Like, Spaceballs, there goes the planet. Like, that's what we all thought. Like, everyone knew what was coming. Everyone knew we're doing the Infinity Gauntlet. Kang doesn't have that story. Kang doesn't have that one definitive, legendary story that you could just lean into.
True.
That they did a great job with. Because he's not that great a villain. Whereas, Doom, we got that stuff. Whereas Magneto, we got that stuff. Like, there's so many better villains in the Marvel universe. Like, we don't need to lean into this. And I'll argue, it wasn't really working all that great to begin with.
Well, partially because they are so scattershot with all of their properties at this point.
I agree with you.
They might have been able to do them justice, but they did not.
Well,
they did not.
All right, so then that's also my question is changing direction now, going to benefit them more or hurt them more? Are people going to go, oh, I don't even know what's going on anymore, and now Doom's coming in. I'm so confused.
People are doing that anyway.
Yeah.
We're already there.
Would they need to put out a Fantastic Four movie first before they did Avengers 5?
No, maybe not.
With Doom?
Maybe not. You can introduce Doom anywhere. Post-credit. You could film a post-credit sequence tomorrow and slap it on, I don't know, what the hell's the next Marvel movie coming out? I can't even think of it. What is the next Marvel movie?
Is Deadpool 3?
Deadpool's the only Marvel movie next year.
Slap it in Deadpool. Yeah. If you do a post-credit sequence of Deadpool in like some giant Laverian hall where you just see that like Dr. Claw looking hand, people are gonna go shit Doom and get excited.
No, they'll say Dr. Claw. It's like
no one will say Dr. Claw except Generation Xers.
I will.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could easily do that. I mean, we got a weird Blade tease at the end of Eternals,
which is gonna go nowhere.
Did we get a weird Blade tease? That didn't happen. There's no Blade. Give me vampires. I'd rather have vampires than Kang at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, everyone loves Doom, and he is a great villain, but it's like, I want him to be done right with the FF. Like, I don't... Yeah.
But he could be the reason why we need the FF.
True.
Isn't his...
Or he's a Doom, or let's steer into the skid here. We have this council of Kangs, right? Amongst this council of Kangs, there's one bad motherfucker with a metal face and a green cloak who happens to be a Kang from this universe, X universe, but it's Doom, and Doom's coming in. And now the heroes from his universe have to explore their way into the multiverse. And there you got your Fantastic Four. Boom. That's it. I just did it.
You just wrote something that's better than most of the other Marvel stuff that's been coming out.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin, I keep telling you to call me, and you never do.
Yeah.
Tea's gone cold. I'm wondering why. That was a Stan reference for you guys.
Oh, actually, wait. He DM'd me the other day and said, "Can you tell JD I need to talk to him? Here's my number. I forgot. I was going to give it to you."
I believe you get porn DMs from random porn bots more than I believe you get. Because who doesn't, really, to be quite honest?
Oh, my God.
They're ridiculous right now. Thank you, Elon.
And on the TikTok, too.
Oh, well, that's nothing but.
Yeah.
The Chinese government watching you there, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm torn, and I don't even know what decision they're going to make is going to be the right decision, regardless.
I mean, they've certainly not. This has not been the best couple years streak that they've had, right? So I think they need something. Like I said, the X-Men was pretty damn good. Just bring in, I'd be fine with Magneto too. Just bring in the X-Men and just make Magneto the threat, right? Get Fassbender.
I feel with Deadpool, like we're closer to bringing Magneto in than we are.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
that's what Don suggested too. I have zero problem if they get they say, "Hey, Fassbender, here is $10 billion. You get to be the main villain of the Marvel universe for a wave of films." I think he'd be like, "Okay," and then we get to bring in some X-Men.
Dye his hair gray.
Give him temples. Give him some of the temples. It'd be fine. It'd be fine. That'd be great, actually. Now that I think about it, I would really like that.
I would love the Magneto where like it's all dark when he has the helmet on, and you can just see the eyes.
Yeah, but no actor wants to have their face dark when they're performing, except for Pedro Pascal. Everyone else wants their face seen.
Well, I mean,
vain ass people.
I don't know. Has there been a superhero movie where the hero's face was covered the whole time? Besides Mandalorian.
Deadpool, kind of. Mandalorian's pretty much like...
Yeah, I was going to say, Ryan Reynolds is the closest because he wears the makeup that have the scarred face when they have the mask on.
They couldn't even give us Spawn covered the whole time when we had Spawn.
Yeah.
Like, we had to see Michael J. White with that terrible-ass makeup for large chunks of the movie. Like, even Spider-Man found every excuse possible to take his mask off.
Darkman 2?
That's because they couldn't get Liam Neeson back.
I was to say.
Well, yeah, but his face was covered the whole time.
Was Darkman 2 Darkman Die? Or was that Darkman 3?
Yeah,
one of the greatest subtitles of a movie ever. I like Darkman. That was a good one. I'm glad we re-reviewed that on the show. It was like a year or so ago. I like that movie.
So, I don't know. I don't know where this is going. I'm a little.
Here's the problem. I don't think
Nobody does.
I don't think Kevin knows either.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's why we haven't heard anything. I think they're they're circling the wagons, trying to figure this out. Well,
but I think they need to not rush this because what they're doing right now has not landed with audiences. So rather than pushing out more content, I think they need to spend some real time and try to figure out what they can do, right? And not just make it quick.
They need to get everybody in a room. They need to map out the next 5 years at least.
I think they've done
that. They need to have a plan. Yeah,
I think
they need something that builds though, like they did the first couple of phases. It needs to build. You need to introduce characters first, then have them in this.
Right, but I also feel like, and again, I hate bringing it back to this, but I do feel like they did have somewhat of a plan. I think the pandemic ruined it, and I think they kind of let people just do things disconnected.
Bob Chapek ruined it. Bob Chapek took over Disney and said, "We want more shit. Give us more stuff now." And so they had to rush a bunch of stuff in, like
without thinking, how does this connect together? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the turnover in Disney leadership. I forget who's the chairman now. Chapek's out. The old guy's back. Iger, thank you. Iger was super creator friendly, and again, all this in the MCU book. Chapek's not. Chapek's like he blindsided. What the heck is Kevin's last name? I almost said Federline. That's not right. Feige. Thank you. Jesus. Feige wasn't. They just said, "Hey, we're Disney Plus. You're making shows now," and they were like, "Oh, okay." So they were kind of that just got thrown at them, which is obvious when you see what's happened. So I mean, they need to kind of go back.
I'm gonna have to read this book.
Chapek also did some really bad things to Disney World.
Chapek sucks. Chapek's thing that happened to that company since they couldn't put Walt's head in frozen block.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll just have to keep an eye out, see what they decide. Maybe they'll have some freedom to do something creative around this, and
hope so.
And it'll be good.
Hope so.
All right. Well, one last quick break.
We've put it off long enough
for our main topic.
500 million people from every known species in the sea call this place home. I'm the king of Atlantis. I'm gonna kill Aquaman and burn his kingdom to ash. Sometimes not giving up is the most heroic thing you can do. We'll pick a fight.
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Rated PG-13. Only in theaters this Christmas.
All right. So, what?
There's something I want to interject into this conversation about this movie.
You've romanced me long enough, John. Stick it in.
All right, real quick. Okay, let's. We did not poll the audience because I haven't been on social media in over a week.
Must be wonderful. I bet you're in a great mood.
On Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score was 35%. The audience score is 79% for this movie.
They're nuts.
Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, by the way. That's what we're talking about if you haven't figured it out yet.
There's your people that'll buy the AI books, GG.
The movie made $126.8 million so far at this point. It was released on December 20th. We're recording this on the 28th, no, 27th. 27th. So, obviously, their budget was $205 million. So they haven't even made the budget back yet, let alone, advertising. So yeah, that's the numbers. Let's go around the room real quick. And everyone can give their initial reaction.
JD, by the way.
Oh.
JD.
He's frozen.
Hello.
We did lose JD.
He's frozen today. There's a reference for you guys. Oh.
All right. While we wait for JD to come back, what non-spoiler, what did you think of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom there, John?
There is nothing I can do to get those 2 hours back.
That bad?
I really want JD to hear what I say, but like, is he coming back? Because could really use.
I mean,
his,
I
sense of humor.
find it funny that he like went away as soon as we started talking about this movie.
I know, like that's how bad the movie is that it's messing with our video connection. It's a really fun butterfly effect. They know that we're talking about it. They don't want to lose any more money. So, but then again, every YouTube video review of it I have seen has been regret. Lots of regret.
I haven't watched any online reviews of this yet.
My base. Oh, there he is. Okay. What was the joke about the AI too bad, and that's why you jumped?
No, I think the AI found me.
Skynet
is a motherfucker.
I thought you were avoiding talking about this movie so bad. You're just like, I'm out.
You know, I'll be honest with you. When the internet kicked me out, I was like, if I can't get back in, it's not the worst thing that's ever happened.
The thing was when you made mention about the 79% audience score and how stupid they were. Those are the people that will buy those AI books.
I heard your lame joke.
Thank you.
I acknowledged it, and I will acknowledge it again.
Okay, so here's the thing I want to interject into this conversation, which may or may not affect some of the rest of it. And there was a post by Troy Brownfield, friend of the show,
Right.
and he posted something from another article. So Aquaman 2, I'll just read it. Aquaman 2 is performing noticeably worse than the Marvels. They're both sequels to billion-dollar blockbusters, yet I don't see any hit pieces from the trades when it comes to the movie starring a man. The math ain't mathing. So the Marvels, thermometer is 61% for the reviewers and 83% audience score. Aquaman is 78% audience score, or 79%, and the thermometer is 35%. Like, so Aquaman is doing much worse on its opening day. It's doing much worse, and yet every article you read is like, it's going to sail past 100 million. It's going to make up its budget. It's doing well, But every article you read about the Marvels was, it's going to suck. It's never going to make it. There's no mention of the fact that the leads in the Marvels are 3 women, but there's an obvious bias, a really obvious bias.
Nah, I think I've read. I think I've seen there's plenty of bad reviews of Aquaman. I also think there were good reviews of the Marvels. I think, but there are sexist people out there. I'm not going to disagree with that. There's a lot of trolls on the internet. I think that's where you hear most of that stuff.
Right, but they labeled the Marvels a failure before it even opened, saying that it was only going to make $85 million, right? They labeled that a failure. And now
they said the same thing about Aquaman.
But the Aquaman, they're saying it's going to grow up 50 to 60 million. It's going to be a success. Wait, what?
Here I think too. I don't think you're wrong with what you're saying, but I think a difference too is that Aquaman is also wrapping up 4 it's 4 failures in a row. So I don't think there's any expectations on this movie to do anything. Whereas the Marvel hadn't had a failure. The DCEU has seen 6 in a row.
No. Before the Marvels, there was
what?
Ant-Man
failed critically, but it didn't fail financially.
And Thor: Love and Thunder
didn't fail financially. Like, those movies made money, just not as much money as Disney would have liked. Where The Flash was a tremendous failure.
Black Adam was a
tremendous failure. Like, it's all been. Yeah, I mean, Secret Invasion was a different thing.
Secret Invasion, right?
But I'm talking about specifically the DC stuff. Blue Beetle, a movie we all love, the movie everybody universally loves, tanked. We're tanked.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense.
So if it can outperform all the crap, it is a win for Warner.
Yeah, this is a mixture of sequel what you call it, fatigue, a little bit of superhero fatigue. This is also this movie in
The
particular.
lame duck.
Yeah, is like people are just like, why go see it? It doesn't mean anything anymore.
I just,
We've
but
we've
you
educated the
gotta
audience.
admit that there's a component, right?
I'm not going to say there isn't, because there definitely is. I think there's a Marvel thing too, where Marvel's been so successful. There is a female thing. There is that 100% of that. Jason Momoa is also more well liked than Brie Larson.
Yeah,
I mean he's a very likable persona. Brie Larson kind of like, I'm not saying she gives it to herself, but I mean, like, she doesn't avoid.
There are a lot of people that don't like her.
That don't like her.
Well, she speaks her mind.
She does
politically. She gets hit for it because of these incel guys.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, like, she challenges them, and when you challenge those people, there is going to be it's Newton's second law, man. They equal opposite reactions.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I mean, like, when you invite those kind of things, you're gonna get that. Like, and it
But
came
she's
to
right
her.
in challenging them.
I don't think she's. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying, like, there's a lot more internet goodwill for Jason Momoa. There just is.
Yeah.
He's likable. Is it fair? No, but it just kind of is.
So Dave, to get back to like initial thoughts now that JD's here. My initial thoughts are every line of dialogue in this movie was either a trailer line or an action movie meme. Like, there was no actual real dialoge in this.
This script was written by ChatGPT.
It could have been, yes.
Trained on Joss Whedon.
Yes, it could have. So that's what I hated watching this movie.
It sucks.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, what was your non-spoiler initial thoughts, JD?
I was so bored. I said I torrented this movie. I spent so much time on my phone. Like, it was astounding to me. Like, there were large chunks in the movie. I was like, what's going on? Like, it was so boring. And in a theater, I'm not going to do that, right? Like, you'll get crucified for doing that in a movie theater. But at home, it's so easy to be like, what's going on Twitter? Like, I found myself so remarkably disengaged with this movie. Like, and I didn't love the first Aquaman. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I thought it was corny. This one's not even corny. It's just, I don't know, like the rehab. It's like, if you're going to rip off Rocky 3, you better give me Rocky 3. You didn't give me Rocky 3, because this is what this is. The entire structure of this movie is lifted from Rocky 3.
And JD, I mean, you say you can't do that in a movie theater, but towards the end of this movie, I was literally laughing out loud because I couldn't help it because it was just so some of the things that they were saying were so stupid.
Again, and it was like that in Aquaman 2. Like, you cast Jason Momoa because he says silly shit, and he's good at saying silly shit. But it just wasn't. I don't know, man. It's such a half-assed effort.
Do you feel like they reined him in, or did they just let him do what he wanted?
No,
I think something was off there.
So
I don't, because it wasn't working. Like, the script's not great. I don't think he's really as dialed in as he was. Like, it just seemed like he was, and he has his moments in this, but it's just not. It just wasn't working anymore. I mean, this is why this universe is dead, right? And they like him. That's why, like, the stories about he might be Lobo, like guns, like we like Momoa, just not as Aquaman. Like, they need to get. This is why we need a new thing, right? And this is why they like. You ever see that? Okay, you guys know about the lost season of Saturday Night Live? Right, there's a season of Saturday Night Live. It's 1985. Right, this is the cast of Saturday Night Live 1985. Anthony Michael Hall, Robert
Downey,
Damon Wells, like, there's all these like Randy Quaid, like, there's all these like famous people that you don't associate with Saturday Night Live because the show sucked. It wasn't working. So the last episode of that season of Saturday Night Live, Lorne Michaels admits that it's a failure. The building gets lit on fire, and he's like, I have to go. And he very quickly grabs John Lovitz and escorts him out. And the rest of them are left to die. That's kind of what the DCEU is, what the DC universe is now. Right? Gunn lit the fire, and he went and grabbed Jaime Reyes and pulled him out, and the rest of it burns to the ground because it's not working. Like,
this movie was so bad. Even Wonder Woman didn't come in.
It's a shame because I like looking at Wonder Woman.
All right. I didn't hate this movie. would I say it's one of the best movies I've ever seen? No, but I didn't hate it. But I did feel
it's better than Batman versus Superman.
I say it's better than some of the other DCE movies.
I agree with that.
But it was unbalanced, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Very unbalanced. Like, we'll get into that in a second. And yeah, I mean, some of the dialogue was kind of
shit.
Yeah,
it's shit.
Some of the dialogue, some of the CGI, some of basically almost everything.
So
this is why Zaslav wants to merge with. We should have talked about that. We didn't talk about that. This is why Zaslav's trying to merge with Paramount, because they've done nothing but release stinkers except for Barbie.
Yeah, that did come out last week, which was a surprise to me because,
Not really. He's been looking to merge with somebody forever since they took over.
I know, but the scuttlebutt had been that they were looking at Comcast, and now apparently that's switched to Paramount, I guess.
I still think the problem with the Comcast is the merger would have been too big, and the government probably went because like the Trump administration didn't allow Tribune and Sinclair, and this would have been bigger than that.
Well, that's because they had a gripe against them. That wasn't. It was. I mean, technically, it was the right decision, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but it was the right decision. So it makes me believe that this wouldn't happen because again, you work for the evil behemoth, like you know how big. Never mind. That's an argument for it. That's a different argument for a different show.
Your sentiment is correct. Yes.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, it just feels like it's just farted out to get it done. Right. This is like Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. They just had to make it.
All right.
I have a note here. My thought after I walked out of the theater was
I have a ransom.
It had I know the basic. It had some good bones. Unfortunately, those bones were surrounded by the most disgusting, putrescent, fetid, CGI'd zombie flesh that you couldn't even imagine.
All right.
I don't know if I agree with that, but yeah, I can't argue at the same time.
I think we're going to get into spoilers now. So to anyone watching or listening, if you haven't seen the movie yet and you don't want spoilers,
don't. That's what I'll say.
You can stop now, come back after you watch the movie if you want. But if you have seen it or you don't care about spoilers, here we go. Was James Wan trying to make a horror movie or try to make an Aquaman movie?
James Wan's a horror director. So
exactly.
His influence is in. I was surprised that he was even able to make the first Aquaman movie.
The first one, he wasn't the only writer, though. He had somebody who was acting as a guardrail.
But the writing.
This one, he had no guardrail.
Yeah, you're right about that. But I mean, like, it's not just writing, right? Like his fingerprints, while all over the movie, it doesn't feel. The first Aquaman doesn't feel like a James Wan movie. This very much.
He had other writers, yeah.
But it's not just writing. It's like the whole tone. Like any script can be whatever, but it's like the director's tone and his choices and his like who's going to do the production design, who's going to be the art director. Like it's all the director's touches that make a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this one very much feels like a James Wan movie, and I don't even think he's that great of a horror director, to be quite honest with you.
Right, because you got the who are the guys from the first one, the half fish, half man, zombie creatures.
The necro.
No. In the first one, the deep.
Yeah, the trench or something.
The trench, yeah. Like you got the one scene in the movie that was like okay, and it was weird, and he's a horror director, and it's like
more
okay,
Jeff John shit, yeah.
Right, and you let it go, but now it's like one scene feels like it's dark and it's going to be a horror movie. The next scene feels like it's a light Aquaman movie. It was like all over the place.
The tone is all over the place in this movie.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with that.
And they killed William Dafoe off screen.
Yeah, they did. But do you think he really wanted to be in the movie at this point? He was like,
Well, he probably read. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he read it and said, "Yeah, I've got better things to do."
Yeah. Pass.
Yeah.
Well, also like. What was I going to say? I feel like there was also stuff on the cutting room floor. Obviously, the one scene, they made a big deal about how Michael Keaton, Batman was in this movie, and originally it was shot with Michael Keaton, and then when they changed the what movie was that? Flash movie, like they made Affleck refilm the scenes, like that was all over social media, like this was true. And then I saw an interview with Juan, and he was like, "Yeah, I didn't really feel like it fit with the rest of the movie, so I just cut it out." It was like, then why did you bother reshooting it?
Told he
But-
had to, because he
Yeah.
was told he had to. That's why.
Much like
These aren't directors' movies. These are studio movies.
Yeah.
It's much like Amber Heard used to be in this movie, but now there's just a cardboard cutout of her where somebody's moving the mouth and the arms. That's it.
Like Davy and Goliath.
No.
Yeah, no, seriously, you're right. Yeah.
You know, I'll just say this.
That is Amber Heard.
She really shit the bed in this performance.
Oh my god.
I have been waiting 6 months to make that joke.
That was the other thing that shocked me. Like, she wasn't as cut out of it as I thought she was going to be.
But
she was
she
in it
didn't
a way
have
more
any
than
scene. She didn't have any scene where she was more than like just a background character almost.
She sucks. She's not a good actress. Her and Momoa have zero chemistry. She's cast because she looks like Mara and she's good looking, right? That's why she's there. And like she was all over the first one. They try to do this. The first movie tries to have this Hepburn and Tracy relationship with the two of them, and it fails epically. So I think they knew that, and they tried to work her in because they wanted to do Arthur Jr. It just, I don't know, man.
Well,
she's also toxic. So
And the other thing I want to say is that it is an Aquaman movie. It's not Aquaman and Mirror. It's Aquaman. And
Aquaman and Ocean Master.
I was about to say,
yeah.
And this really was a movie about their relationship, about the brothers' relationship. So,
Rocky 3.
Patrick Wilson was the only good actor in this movie. He was the only one with good
He's
lines.
always good.
He's the only one that really tried.
Yeah, he's a pro, man. And I think Momoa tried. I think he doesn't have the material. Like Momoa's the kind of guy who needs material to work with because he's got great. He's very charismatic. It's just the script sucks, and Patrick Wilson's a good actor. He's out there trying really hard, and the movie just is kind of beneath him.
Even Kidman as Atlanta had a couple of good scenes, but they were so short and cut to the bone that you barely got to see her give it a go. You know,
probably because the rest of it. I'm of the mind that in these movies, the rest of the stuff probably sucks. If this is the stuff they kept, how bad is the stuff they got rid of?
Can I say this?
No. Yes.
The premise of the movie doesn't make a lot of sense.
No,
it doesn't make any sense.
Not
at
a
all.
lick.
So
I'm gonna kill everything with global warming. What? You're not doing the whole.
But hold on.
Pick it up, man. You were beaten to the punch.
Yeah.
Hold on. The I can't remember the name of the villain. The
Black Manta.
No, not Black Manta. The actual.
The real villain.
The dead.
The dead king. Yeah.
The dead king from the Lost Kingdom that
King
takes
Neros. King Neros,
who takes over Black Manta's mind because Black Manta finds the black trident,
which was voiced by Dolph Lundgren, by the way.
Well, that I like. Which is weird because the man couldn't talk in Rocky 4
Yeah.
or in He-Man, but we hired him to do voiceover now. What a choice! What a career this man's had.
So, and then
Keith David was right there. That's the guy they should hire.
He makes Black Manta collect this old fuel source, Orichalcum, and just burn it. Right, it's just burn it so that it'll destroy the atmosphere.
Speed up the global warming.
None of the other Justice League notice this. That's the first problem. The second problem is by the time we get to the end of the movie, well, it was a spell that needed blood to free the king anyway. So why did you have to warm everything up?
What was the point of the?
What was the point of warming up the planet and melting the ice if it was a magic spell keeping them there anyway?
Because the plot said it had to. Like, the fact we're talking about the plot in this movie is just like, who cares? Like,
I mean,
it don't matter.
Using the word plot is very...
Yeah, it's MacGuffin. MacGuffin says MacGuffin has to MacGuff.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
McGruffin, take a bite out of this shitty movie.
And why... Like,
McGruffin the plot dog. I'm going to use that someday.
Oh,
Write that down. Sorry.
Other than the fact that it's an Aquaman movie, why... And it was a movie about him and his brother, but why did he have to free him anyway?
Because they wanted it to be him and his brother. They wanted Rocky 3.
Apollo had to train Rocky. like he's the only one that could help him with Black Manta. It was like,
but in the end, he didn't do anything that anybody else could have done.
Right.
Yeah.
Like call Superman. Whoa.
Yeah.
Henry was busy. Like, that's the problem with this movie. It's so dumb.
Yeah. So it was like, and then I do feel like they tried to fake you out, making you think that he was going to actually kill off first. I was going to say Merida. Mara, then and then his father, and then Arthur Jr. But like,
well, Arthur Jr. dies. Arthur Jr. does die. That's why you think he's
in the comics, right?
Yeah. That's the other thing though. Every 7 times, somebody almost dies, and then doesn't for no reason whatsoever.
No stakes, right? Nobody's actually going to die in this movie,
right? And Dave, going back to your point about about all the cuts that this has made, you can tell there's a lot of cuts because most of the beginning is all fucking narration.
Yeah,
it's all narration.
It's like a Sam Spade movie.
Yeah, it was hard, and that's the death knell of any movie is having that much narration. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I think they did it because they cut a lot of stuff out that was probably explained through dialogue. Yeah.
And screenwriting, when you're taking screenwriting class, they say never use a narrator unless you absolutely have to. It's a sign of failure. And then Lord of the Rings starts with a 10-minute narration. It's like one of the greatest movies ever made. But that's like the exception that proves the rule, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the first 10 minutes is fine because there's like 80 hours of the rest of the movie.
There's a lot of ground to cover before we get moving, so it makes perfect sense.
The director's cuts of those movies are all over 3 hours long, and they don't even cover everything that's in the books.
There's a lot in the books.
Yeah.
A lot of talking about trees.
Yeah.
But in this case, like, they're narrating stuff that you already know that should be very easy to show and not tell. Yeah. You know.
And then like the idea that he's the king of Atlantis, but he has a council that he has to answer to, was just like, that was just a MacGuffin to move the story forward, because if he was just the king, he could just say, "Bring my brother here," no.
The constitutional monarchy, sir, much like the United Kingdom.
Yeah, but I mean, I still think.
Kidding.
No,
I was making a joke.
I still think he should have been able to just say, "No, I'm the king. I need my brother for this."
So, again, was I the only one that thought that the dialogue was just like there was barely any dialogue in this that wasn't either trailer bait or just like what you like. I was telling my nephews when we walked out. I have seen if you took all the cutscenes from one of the latest video games, it would still make a better movie than this, and the dialogue would still be more natural than the dialogue in this.
Like I said, it's ChatGPT trained on Joss Whedon, right? And it's just
right. Well, I mean, a great example of what you're saying, John, is Arthur keeps calling Ocean Master little brother. Mm-hmm. He didn't call him that at all in the first movie, and then he's been in prison this whole time. So why all of a sudden is he calling him little brother? You know, it's just to build to the scene where he calls him brother at the end.
Right? Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
but it was just like
it's supposed to be some grand thing.
Ham-fisted.
Ham-fisted, exactly. It's so ham-fisted because it just does like you're forcing something that wasn't there in the first movie. Like the only good thing about this is that it does wrap up all the storylines from the first movie. Other than that,
it wraps up the DCEU.
Yeah.
Well, with a whimper, basically.
The whole thing was a whimper.
Yeah.
It started with a whimper. It's been bad the whole time. It's been bad for a decade. Good riddance.
Yeah. Also, the CGI sucked. Like, there was a lot of floating head syndrome. Even I was noticing a lot of it, and I normally don't notice that stuff. But like a lot of times when the hair wasn't flowing as well as it did in the first movie, which is crazy. And I mean, and part of the problem is if you compare it to like The Way of Water, Avatar: The Way of Water.
Well, don't do that.
Know, it's I know. I know. Like, there's no trends, but the other part is like the hair would be floating, and the face would be floating inside the hair in different directions, and there were other parts where you could see pixelation. It was so bad.
So like, here's what I'm at. I just saw a $15 million movie with giant Godzilla that looked real as fuck. So I don't want to
Yep.
hear it anymore from these guys. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I
Yep.
saw Toho do it for a lot less and look a lot better. That might win the Oscar this year for best special effects, and it should. This thing, ass.
Well, this thing's going to get a Razzie.
It deserves one.
Yeah.
Here's one of the things, right? And I think this is in movies in general, but like these DC and Marvel and these big spectacular special effects movies is that like the big difference between that Godzilla movie and this is they knew where and when to use the special effects.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you watch behind the scenes of some of these movies, they're just in a room with a green screen the whole
24/7,
time, and then to just throw everything in. No, go out in the real world, touch grass, as the kids say on the internet, and like film in the real world, but know where to add stuff. Like
we've lost the plot with this stuff.
Yeah.
We think it's too easy now, and everyone's lazy with filmmaking. Oh, we'll just fix it in post, and then it all looks like garbage.
And that's part of the reason I think it's more expensive to create all
absolutely.
the environments and put the people in them. Costs way more money than just to add the
There's
little
no
bit of
production.
special effects.
Yeah, because there's no production design anymore. Just do it in front of a green screen. We'll fix it later.
Yeah.
And like it worked for so long that we've gotten lazy with it, and we're overworking 8 billion animators to animate a table. Well, you just could have sat the guy at a fucking table,
right?
Right? It's lazy. It's stupid filmmaking, and I think these companies deserve what they're getting. I hope Gunn is smarter.
Yeah,
he actually is. Because his stuff always looks pretty good. So.
By and by, like when they brought the big crab in, was it Digi or Brian King and then Kordax? They brought in two kings just for A, comic relief, and B, as more MacGuffins to move the plot along. And the first thing I thought when the Brian King opened his mouth was, oh man, they dragged poor John Rhys Davies into this thing.
He needs a paycheck. He's getting older.
I know. But
he's made two crappy movies this year.
He should be getting hopefully getting residuals from the Lord of the Rings movie because, you know.
Oh, and here's a question I have. This is a thing that one of the things that bothered me, but also confused me a little bit, was the scene where Arthur Jr. is talking to the fish in the tank, and Aquaman gets all excited because he has his power. Is Aquaman the only one from Atlantis that could talk to fish like that?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why. He's a mutant. Not a human or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's funny you have questions from this movie that you left with. I left this movie thinking nothing about it.
Yeah.
I didn't have a single thought in my head movie.
Because we played
I was laughing.
Played that commercial before we started talking about it, and he goes, 12 million citizens in the sea or whatever, and like when he says it in the movie, like they show the animals and he talks to the animals, but yet the only person who treats them, the whales and the sharks and all, as denizens of the sea is Aquaman.
Well, yeah.
I feel like everyone else, they're just animals for us to use.
They are. We've got a caste system. Aquaman is better than us. He is our Doolittle.
All right. Yeah. So, is there anything that you liked about this movie?
It ended.
It ended? What?
It ended.
Yeah.
Patrick Wilson's good. I mean,
yeah.
I like Momoa. Momoa's likable. Like, that's what's frustrating is I feel like this could have been a better movie, but like, I don't know. Every choice has just been wrong. So I'm just glad. I'm glad James Gunn is coming with this. Was making a Superman movie, filming in March, and I have highest of hopes for it.
Do you know what? One of the things that bothered me the most in this movie.
What?
The scenes when they first go to that island. First I think they go to that like pirate den to find out where Black Manta's possibly hiding out, and then they swim there, and then they go into the him wearing regular clothes, Jason Momoa wearing just like a big shirt and brown pants and shoes, like
the amount of drag that would cause in the ocean.
I love the scene where they go to the island and Godzilla attacks, and then he has to get into his plane, but he can't pull the. Oh wait, we're talking. I was remembering the good movie we reviewed a couple weeks ago. Never mind.
I'm just saying, like, it was so like that was such a weird choice.
The whole thing is full of weird choices, man.
One of my favorite scenes is the one where the singer, the singing fish woman, is still singing when the roof is collapsing on top of everybody and people are dying everywhere.
It's like the band in the Titanic. You play when the ship goes down. I wanted a crab that would just be Sebastian and do Under the Sea, but we didn't get that.
I would have taken Krabby from SpongeBob at this point.
I would have taken actual
made a better
crab.
movie.
Got to use the special shampoo.
No, when I saw the singer, I'm thinking somebody from Star Wars worked on this. They're like, they're trying to do that, but
God, this movie was so dumb.
It was dumb as hell.
It's just dumb.
We haven't even really talked about the plot much because we can't. Because there's no
plot. There's no plot. It's stuff just
right
happens.
because they like, and that was the other thing. Like, they get to that island where
Godzilla comes ashore, and like people are like really worried about it. But he's like not a real size Godzilla. He's like big, but he's not like the real Godzilla we think of.
Black Manta is burning the fuel and destroying the
we're talking
atmosphere.
about this movie still.
And they get to, and all of a sudden we're in a Godzilla or Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Watch your mouth, sir. Do not compare this to Godzilla.
But you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden now we're in a jungle with giant bugs and stuff, and it was like, why?
Why didn't he
throw that in there? It was
Why didn't he call the Kraken from the first movie? He's his friends with him.
Why? It's like we turned it. Maybe we played a video game at the arcade. Let's Go Jungle, where you're in the Jeep and you have to fire at all the giant mosquitoes and shit like that chasing you. That's what that felt like. I'm like, this movie doesn't even know what it wants to be anymore.
Right. That's what I was talking about. Unbalanced. Like, all of a sudden we're in a giant bug movie. Like,
because why the fuck not?
Well, that was all for the that was all for the mid-credit scene. All of that was for the mid-credit scene where Orm is eating a hamburger and he catches a cockroach and puts it in the burger, and that was the mid-credit scene. It meant nothing.
I didn't even make it to the mid-credit scene.
No, I didn't either. I didn't stay. I just know that. Yeah.
Well, that was weird too, because they teased the mid-credit scene at the end of the movie and then showed the mid-credit scene.
I was out.
But the thing was, I feel like maybe part of that original reason. Usually, a mid-credit scene in these movies sets up the next movie, and then the after-credit scene is the joke. So the joke, so there wasn't going to be any setup for anything. So they just threw the joke in the mid-credit scene.
The joke is Zack Snyder got to make a bad Star Wars movie on Netflix. That's the joke.
Yeah.
I think that should be the next movie we talk about.
Fuck you.
No. Sorry. Where did that come from? No.
It's funny. It's funny because most of the people now I have a really good friend who's like, "Oh, I like the movie, but I think you would hate it," and then everyone else whose opinion I usually trust on this kind of stuff have all said it is
awful,
garbage.
The consensus is this movie is terrible, and I'm like, yeah, it's a Zack Snyder Star Wars movie. What did you expect?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan's like, oh, he's a genius, and I'm like, you're just saying that because you're his friend. Like, it's one of those things like, oh, he tries really hard. We, no.
You know how, like, down the South, they say, bless his heart.
Bless his heart. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's a rated R Zack Snyder Star Wars movie that was punched down to PG-13 by Netflix.
I'm sure there was all kinds of...
And he already has a director's cut. There is a director's cut of...
It's going to be in black and white and with black sidebars on the side.
He's purposely making another cut, just, because money,
But he's got his fans that think he's great. So, the man speaks to his own audience.
Fans,
It's not... well, it's the same thing. It's not us, but people like their shit, I guess. Whatever. Who gives a fuck?
All right. I'm done talking about this movie.
Yeah, I'm so bored with this. Like, I would rather fight with John about OpenAI. than
Let's
talk about this movie again.
I can't think of anything else to say about this movie. It's so bad. You know?
It's like it's not the worst. It's not as bad as Batman versus Superman because I had expectations for that. It's not as bad as Black Adam.
It's not as bad as Plan 9 from Outer Space, but
it's
you
bad.
know.
But it's like bad. But it's like this should have
It's like
actually
The
been
Room.
decent. Like this should have actually been a decent movie. But it's just so barf. You know, it's just so. It just
doesn't know what it. I think the biggest problem is it doesn't know what it wants to be. Like
It wasn't bad enough to be entertaining. Like it.
Yeah, I agree.
It kept itself just above being entertaining for the wrong reasons.
Black Adam has entertaining moments because Dwayne still had some charisma in that movie. Like there were parts of Shazam that I kind of liked. This was just
dumb.
Just
dumb.
All right, let's just wrap it up. Then you want to give a score?
4.
Oh, that's high. That's more than I would have given it.
How about you, John?
3.
Wow. I was
Not
going to
even
be
making
fair.
jokes. They're just
I was going to give it a 5, just because like it's not the worst DC
It's
movie.
not.
It's just unbalanced. It doesn't know what it wants to be, and it's got a lot of.
It's gonna make more than Blue Beetle, which is a crying shame because that was a good movie.
I would, if I were folding laundry, I would stop, go over to the TV, and turn the channel if this was on. That's my.
I'll never
it's
watch
just-
this again.
Yeah,
No.
I never want to see this movie again ever.
No, probably not.
I would go see Godzilla -1 again if it were still in the theaters.
All
For
right.
the third time I would see
Hey,
that.
you know what? The Iron Claw was excellent. Don't
Okay,
waste
there
your
you
time
go.
with. Don't waste your time with seeing this movie. Go
I was
see
gonna
Iron
s-
Claw.
I figured that was going to be your recommendation. So
It will be.
Okay. So I guess what we're saying there, boys and girls, is if you really want to see it, wait till it's free on HBO Max, or download it like JD did.
Or see a psychologist, because why would you really want to see this movie?
But you might want to just see how does it all end.
There's plenty of porn on the internet. There's much better stuff to watch than this.
Porn, I don't make these jokes, but porn would be way more entertaining than this.
It is.
Oh, speaking of jokes, I forgot at the top of the show.
And have more plot.
I
wanted
actually
to-
want some better plots than this.
I want to start a new thing on the show. Darn it. I was going to do it at the top of the show. It's supposed to start the show with this. I was going to start each week with an inappropriate joke.
Oh, that's just my gimmick. Like, make John uncomfortable. Okay, I'm in favor of this now.
No.
All right, so this is the inappropriate
I'm
joke
losing
for
my
the week.
voice.
Here's the inappropriate joke for the week. Did you know that you can tell a lot about a woman by her shoes?
Oh boy,
Oh, no.
Dave's gonna get us in a lot of trouble here. Continue.
Warning, Will Robinson, warning.
Danger, danger,
Danger.
it's a danger.
For example, if they're behind her ears, she really likes you.
Okay, Andrew Dice Clay.
No.
Let me
That's a
tell you
Jimmy
a story
Carr
you
joke.
ain't never heard.
Oh.
So, all right, let's wrap this one up. Let's go around the room. Did you learn anything this week, or do you have any recommendations? And John, you can go first.
I will stay. I've learned that I will stay away from Juan's movies from now on. That's I don't want to go through that again. Recommendations. You know what my recommendation is? Spend time with your family for the next week. You know, until you've got very little time left before work tells you to go back into the office in January. So spend time with your family. You know, watch something fun, maybe the One Piece live action on Netflix or something. You know, something that the whole family can enjoy, or just spend time with your family. You know, enjoy your vacation if you've got one, and if you don't, try to enjoy some time off for yourself.
All
There you go.
right. JD.
Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Dave Matthews. I will recommend. I think the Bible too. I will recommend The Iron Claw. Best movie I saw last week for sure. I'm a pro wrestling fan, so like it was a movie that I feel like was made for me, but at the same time isn't, because there's enough stuff in there where I go, that's not what happened, or that guy playing Ric Flair is awful. but the performances are so great. Zac Efron is amazing. I think he should be nominated for an Oscar. Lily James is awesome. Holt
Wow.
McClaney as Fritz von Erich is disturbed and unnerving. Jeremy Allen White, is the best supporting actor. Like, God, I love this movie so much. I loved it. I had tears at the end. Please go see the Iron Claw.
All right. And did you learn anything this week?
No, I never learned anything on this.
You
show.
never learned anything yet.
Oh,
All right.
Something we do. We don't educate people.
I learned
that Randy keeps finding the dumbest people to put in his commercials, and I don't know whether I should credit him or feel sorry for him,
or feel sorry for the human race.
I've already lost patience with the human race, man. We're
a long time ago. Yeah, I learned that. James Wan doesn't know how to make a good movie, or a consistent movie by himself. All right. But I will recommend, first off, if you're watching this right now and you aren't yet, please subscribe. Click that bell for notifications so you don't miss us when we do go live on Sunday nights. And I also recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page, comic book reviews, and so much more. And I don't have an actual recommendation this week, other than what John said. Spend time with your family. And I am going to listen to JD. I'm going to go see the Iron Claw. And maybe we'll talk about that a little bit next time we're together.
Oh, I'm a fan. John, go see the Iron Claw. I want to know what you think of someone who doesn't. I want to know the opinions of people who don't like pro wrestling, what they think of this movie. Honestly,
my girlfriend does not watch pro wrestling. She saw the trailer and said, "Yeah, I want to see this movie."
Good movie. So, I would love to have opinions on it. I can't.
Last time I watched pro wrestling was back in the days of Randy Savage and was it Andre the Giant?
This movie is from back in the day.
This
right?
is not the Von Erich
story from the story.
One of them. Kerry Von Erich was in the WW time. He was the Texas Tornado.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So
it's all Ric Flair. Ric Flair is a main character, not a main character. Ric Flair is a major presence in this movie. So,
I remember Ric Flair.
Yeah, Ric Flair, the greatest.
Everyone remembers Ric Flair.
Man.
Woo! Yeah.
So.
All right.
Well, on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cake caught in the door. Have a good week.